into a nice, pretty nicely all around. Put this lid back on. Signing off, later. Right there, hey I can't even speak today, alright. Let me get this sorted again. Hey lads and lasses, how y'all doing today? It's Static Shark Gaming here, and I'm doing a little cooking in the kitchen. As you can see here, I'm browning up some meat. It's getting nice and brown, and in a little bit we're going to actually drain the grease from this dish right here. So what I'm doing, it's actually not that advanced to what I'm actually cooking. I'm doing a little Hambuglar Helper tonight. It's really easy to do. It's really convenient. You know, it may not be super gourmet or anything that impressive, but it's a really nice dish that feeds you at least 2 meals, which is really convenient for a college student like me who doesn't actually have a lot of money, you know, to spend on lots of food, and I eat quite frequently. So it's nice to have a lot of choice and great tasting food around. And this actually does a really good job of doing that for me. So my meat is about all browned out. Just a couple pieces that we'll look at, but there's going to be further cooking going on later after we get our sauce and stuff in there and our milk and water. So we don't really have to worry about browning it out 100% there right now, but we do need to drain our meat. We're going to reduce heat down to about, I'd say about 4. And we're going to take this and we're going to go over here to the sink and we're going to drain out our grease. There's not many particular strategies for doing this one right here, and I'm just going to have to set the camera down so I can, it's going to require 2 hands, and I'm actually holding the camera, so just 1 second. Look at me real quick. It's actually quite dark in here. I'm actually going to hit a light. Get a little bit more light, alright, and I'll just talk to y'all while I'm doing this bit right here. So basically you want to get like maybe a spoon that you were working with to brown out your meat. You want to grab what you can of the meat so that it doesn't fall out. You don't want to really lose much of your meat. And just sort of drain, get all of the grease and whatnot to the bottom, have it cool out, and then just sort of get rid of it there by tipping over your pan, and it'll drain out the grease and stuff for the most part. You can get most of it. Maybe do a little touch up with a paper towel or something like that if you have a little bit of excess and you don't have really a phenomenal way of getting the grease out, and you don't want to like dirty up another dish. Let me grab the camera real quick. I'll show you. If you don't want to dirty up another dish trying to just drain out the grease, I'll go and grab a napkin real quick right from here. Yeah, we'll go ahead and I'll just touch this grease up. I don't really want too much grease. It'll get in the food and it won't taste very great. Some grease is good for a lot of dishes, but for this one in particular, there's a lot of liquids involved, and the grease is not that beneficial. It's not very healthy for you, so I like to just get that out of there. So I'm going to put this back on the heat. We're about at 4 right now, and we just want to go ahead and spread it back, our meat out into a nice, very nice even, because we're about to put in some more stuff into our dish real quick. Mainly a bunch of milk and water. So we're going to take about 1.5 cups of each, I'd say. I don't think I have... yeah, there we go. Alright. We're going to take our measuring cup and we're going to get some milk out right quick. What I have there is a cup. So I'm going to set this down real quick. Measure this out. So that this isn't phenomenal, I don't have somebody recording for me. I'm going to put in about a cup of milk right there. Put in a little bit more. You don't have to put too much because you are doing milk in water, so that's kind of convenient. You get a lot of liquids in there. That just sort of goes with the whole Hambuglar Helper thing. Helps produce sort of like a cheesy sort of thing is what it captures. So we're going to get our water out right here. It's going to be about a cup and a half. We'll get about a cup. So this is about 3/4 of a cup. We'll get, you know, maybe another 3/4. That'll be good. As you can see, we've already got a lot in there. We still have more to put in there, so it's okay if you don't get too much of each in there. It's not too big a deal. Turn our water off. Alright, next we're going to go over here, weigh down our packages. What we need to do, this one right here, I'm making cheddar cheese melt. Alright, it's pretty tasty stuff. I'm using buffalo ground beef as my meat. You can choose any meat, really. Works quite well with Hambuglar Helper. It doesn't really matter too much. I mean, some in particular, you might have some issues if you use, you know, one or the other. But usually, I mean, I've used a couple of these that say ground beef or pork or something like that, and I use chicken instead, and it's perfectly okay. It still comes out pretty good. All right, so here's our package. We need to put this on here and stir it up a little bit. I'm gonna set this down for a second because it's gonna require 2 hands, of course. I need a cameraman, really. That would be pretty cool. We can actually, sorry about that. We can actually turn up our heat a little bit more. We want all this to mix together and also boil. We can turn our numbers down quite a bit once we get to that point, but until then, we want it to get up to boiling pretty quickly. And I know that we've got some heat on it already, but it would be nice to have it warm up a little bit faster. And there's several ways you can do this, really. I personally like my Hambuglar Helper to be not necessarily dry, but pretty well cooked, pretty well cooked, and that you can cook it under pretty easily. If you follow the directions, it'll probably usually be under. Unless you have your heat up really high, which will probably not cook so well. But, you know, just spread this out all even. Get your sauce mixed in there quite well with the water and the milk. And, you know, spread it out. You want it to be nicely spread so it can cook pretty nicely all around. You know, get it in there good. And that's about good, I'd say. Get your spoon, knock it off a little bit. Alright, so we want... before we do anything else, we want this to be boiling. So, get it up there. We just gotta have some little patience, you know. Make sure the pan is on there correctly. It's not off a little bit, because that might take a little bit longer. Alright, and if we look at our box here, it'll tell us that it's going to take about 10 minutes. So I'd say I'm probably going to keep mine in that 14 minutes plus. I like to keep it in there quite a long time. It's pretty good. I know this isn't focusing very well, but you know, and it tells you turn your heat down and whatnot. So if it's going to take me 10 minutes, it'll probably take me quite a bit more. Just throw the box away. I've got all the instructions. Basically, after you get done cooking it, it's done. So you don't have to worry about that. I'll just be here waiting for it to boil. So I'll get back to you when that is ready. So thank y'all. Alright, hey, we're back. How y'all doing? I'm going to completely reintroduce myself, but that's completely unnecessary. But when I left you, we were turning up the heat, waiting for it to boil. So we got it to boil, and we put a cover over our pan while we're cooking it, and that makes it cook faster, makes it cook more thoroughly. It helps with a different kind of heating, so it's really the star point of Hambuglar Helper. So we're gonna go ahead and take off our lid. I just have a generic lid that I just put over my pan. I don't really have something that came with it or anything. So you just sort of slide it off. Watch out for the heat. and the steam that'll be coming off, it'll be boiling. And just so basically what I did was set a timer for 4 minutes, and about every 4 minutes you just want to come in here. If you're doing something, you can leave while this is happening, and just really just stir it up a good bit. You don't have to stir it too thoroughly. You just need to make sure that it's not sticking to the bottom of the pan. You want to separate it from the edges and separate it from the bottom in the middle. Stir it up, get it thoroughly mixed, because you're going to do this several times. This mixing is going to help really absorb all this water and milk that we got in here. It's a lot, and so to make all this drain away, we've really got to mix this up nice and well, and of course heat it up quite a bit. I'll have the heat on about 5. I put that in perspective. I cook my meat on about 7, so it's still quite hot, and you just mix it up, and then that's I don't know, I've spent maybe a minute doing this. That is good right there. Just go ahead and tap that spoon off. We don't want to get it everywhere, and then just sort of bring back the lid, put it nice on there, put the lid back up, set your timer up again for another 4 minutes, and you just wait. Really, it's basically a waiting game with this dish, but it comes out really nicely, so that's nice. A nice thing you could do, since there's some waiting involved in this meal, you could set up yourself some vegetables to go with it, put them in the microwave, and say, the last 2 sort of go-arounds that you're gonna wait 4 minutes or so, you get that in there and you heat it up in the microwave, so that way you're being productive, you're getting extra food in, and you get a lot of you get a lot done in a pretty short time. It's not that difficult. I think we spent about 6 minutes just preparing. I maybe spent 2 extra minutes just grounding up the meat and getting it all browned up. So in total that's about 8 minutes plus the around 14. That's not bad for a meal that'll at least feed you 2 times, 2 major meals really. That's really not that bad. Go ahead and look at the camera. It's not that big a deal, really. So that'll be really nice and productive. Nice sides that I think go with Hambuglar Helper really usually is something like green beans. Green beans go really nicely, I find. I don't know why, but they seem to go quite well. I might cook myself up a little bit of them. Corn also goes reasonably nicely. There's just some suggestions. I mean, you can find whatever works for you. Whatever works for you is pretty easy, It's just it's personal preference, really, and I mean that goes along with the entire meal, really. What kind of meat you use, etc. You could not use water. You could use more milk instead of water. Stuff like that. That's all subject to change by you. I usually just stick to the bill because it comes out really nicely and I like it. And it's just personal preference. It goes along with the vegetables as well. I personally like peas a lot. I like peas quite a bit, and I usually cook me up some peas to go with my meal because I love peas. Those whatever works for you, because vegetables really are really helpful. Not helpful. I mean, they are helpful. It's just they're really healthy for you. So I think you find some that you like personally. It's really good to go ahead and whip those up for yourself. Because then you're just doing yourself a solid, and I like that about cooking. Cooking as a personal thing. Not cooking for like a family or cooking in maybe a restaurant or something. It's just you're cooking for yourself, and honestly, there's only benefits that can come out of that when you're cooking for yourself, because you're tailoring it to yourself, and you just set yourself up to have a good time. I'm actually quite a fan of cooking. It's one of my personal favorite things to do. Really, I haven't been cooking for very long at all, actually. I've only been cooking for well, less than a year, really. And I've caught on quite quickly. I enjoy it quite a lot. I don't know, like, an extraordinary amount of things to do, but like some of my favorite meals I definitely know how to cook now, because I like the freedom of being able to cook my own stuff and you know, add my own twist to find out what I like the greatest. And just about right now we're gonna get our timer, because we got another see, it's gonna start really bubbling, so you know you're getting there. Don't worry, some of these have like rice in them, and rice easily sticks to the bottom, so don't be too concerned if you're really feeling it stick to the bottom because of the heat. It's okay. It's not too big a deal, because it's just, you know, the rice is right there at the bottom. It always goes to the bottom because of diffusion, and that's why you're here to stir it up. So maybe on the rice dishes you maybe do it every 3 minutes instead of 4, just to make sure it's not sticking too badly to the bottom. You get it all moved around and it's nice and loose and free, ready to absorb all the juices. Alright, this one's getting pretty nicely. I think the heat's really doing it a good number. So put this lid back on. That is hot. That is definitely hot. So I'll turn her up again. So this is about a third bout of it's a third a go at heating up. So that'll be about 12 minutes. I got like and probably around 16. I'll need at least 2 more stirrings, maybe a little bit more after, to get what I desire. It's just, you know, it's up to you. If you think it's good by the time it gets to 10-12 minutes, by all means you can go ahead and you know, take it off the heat and get it ready to serve. Just set yourself up a plate. I mean, there's lots of spare time in between the stirrings. You don't have to stir it too often, which is kind of nice. You know, if you make dishes like I made this here measuring cup dish, you can just go ahead and wash it out, get everything done. The water's probably pretty loud. Get everything done so you don't have to, you know, you just put the food in on your plate, put it in a container, and then just go ahead and eat. You know, you're done. You've washed all your dishes. You don't have to worry about that. You know, it's pretty convenient. It's a very nice meal. You know, I can't talk to you about how great this meal is enough. You'd think I was working for whoever makes Hambuglar Helper. I actually have no idea. I could look on the box, but I think that was my last box, and I don't really want to get it out of the trash. So I'll be back with you in a bit. Just gonna tidy up the kitchen a bit, and yeah, we'll be ready done. All right, hey, we're back. I just got done stirring it again for next to the last time, I think. I'm not quite sure. It's getting pretty well done. It's getting a little bit chunkier. It's reducing how much water, milk, and liquids there are in there. It's messy stuff. It's messy stuff. So what I've got here is I've got some carrots. We're gonna make some carrots to go with this. I felt like I kind of wanted some carrots. So we're gonna make some carrots real quick. So first of all, if you are, for whatever reason, new to canned goods, you're gonna go over here and get out your bottle opener. It's a can opener. So you're gonna go ahead and plop that on, grab it with the handle, and you're just gonna rotate that right there. It's kind of difficult to do with one hand. Let me go ahead and do that right there. Okay, I don't know if I got that in the shot, but I attempted to. So then you're going to take that off and go put it up. So that's all we'll need over there. Alright, and then you're going to grab this And as you see, there's some liquid right there. You actually have to drain these out because they're preserved with water and stuff. You go, just keep the lid on there. You popped off, and then hold it while you drain out the water and stuff. It'll all come out really, and none of your food will. And it's pretty convenient sort of thing right there. You just drain it out all into there. After you're done, you're gonna go over to your trash bin and grab the lid, take it off. Don't lose much of your food. And turn it away. And that is all there is to it. Because you're gonna grab a bowl out your cupboard, and you're gonna set it down. Dump your goods in there. Try and get it all out as best you can. Man, if you get all of it, get most of it. I actually like mine. Actually, getting pretty close to the timer, so we're gonna need to hurry up a little bit here. And I'm gonna get some butter out. So we can put that on a corn. This is pretty optional. I mean, it's a little bit unhealthier, really, if you add on butter. Butter's not that great for you. It's basically just fat. I mean, it may have some beneficial qualities, but I'm gonna get a large chunk of butter there. Large chunk of butter. I love me some butter. Really livens up the taste of that. This part's not too optional. I mean, at least if you want it to taste reasonably well, you could just have it by default. But I think you know, there's not much really unhealthy with it in its seasoning. So you know, get some pepper. You want some good pepper, a lot of good pepper, and a little bit of salt. Salt's not that too healthy for you, but it's nice for a seasoning. Liven the taste up, so just put some that on there. I'm pretty young, so you know, yellow as they say. Wow, I couldn't have sounded more lame there. You know, stick that in right there into the microwave and just set it up for about a minute 10 will do it, and that'll conveniently roll us into this. This is about the end. Towards the end of our oof, that's hot. Towards the end of our cooking of this. See, as you see, losing that liquid, separating this out, and you can really begin to see that it's just mainly the meat and the noodles. Really get that separated out of there. We're getting really close. We're gonna have to wait it out one more. There's a little bit too much liquid. I don't like having to drain out the liquid. I like it to just be absorbed in there as it cooks. It really, I think it adds to the meal. It makes it a little hearty, a little, you know, a little more substance. I don't know if that's quite the word I was looking for. But it really fiddles out the meal. I have to do a lot of cleaning up. Usually don't have to, but with only one hand, not too easy to do a lot of this stuff. And then I'll roll us right into opening this up right here. It's nice and hot sounding. So what that does is that melts our butter. It melts our butter, and that cooks our carrots, and we just want to stir them around. You know, get them well. There's a lot of butter at the bottom. That has melted, as well as our carrots are doing a little bit of dehydration from the heat. Just stir them up, make sure the pepper's nice and even, get them in the butter a little bit, and then just go over and empty it out so it doesn't have all that butter at the bottom. Drop some of my carrots in there. This is better done with two hands as it usually is. I'll be right. Alright, I drained it out pretty good. And then it's ready to eat. Just keep it in your bowl. After you're done with it, the convenient thing is you can put it up right nice and easily in these Tupperware. As you can see, I got them out all ready for me. So that I can put the leftovers in there and stick them right in the fridge. I don't think I actually set my timer. It's got about 2 minutes, so probably get 2 more and it'll be done. Even if it's not like perfect, it's good enough. I mean, it's been under the heat for a while, so it'll be fine if I cut it out a little short. Wash my dish off here. And I got my plate ready. I'll just plop it straight onto the plate. And then we'll be good to go. Alright. Well, I think that's about it. I think I'll just wrap up here, because, I mean, you don't really need to see me put it on the plate of the finished product. I mean, you might want to see what the finished product looks like to see, you know, to what degree I have everything done to. So I guess I'll wait and let you see that. But basically that's it. I'm just going to put it on the plate and go eat it. You know, put the leftovers in a box, you know, pretty simple stuff, and then wash my dishes. Always fun washing dishes. It is a downside, and I try as best as I can to diminish the amount of dishes I have to wash by doing creative things, like, you know, I had to drain out that butter there, and I didn't really want to use anything extra to drain it, so I just used my hand. It was a little hot. But I used my hand and it was okay. I was able to drain it effectively. And, you know, whatever shortcuts you can take, you know, by all means take them. So, we got a couple seconds here. I'd just like to thank everyone who's watching, and I really appreciate it. It's not something I do quite often, is record real life. Let me get the timer. It's quite a lot of time. It's not something I do, which is record real life that often. So thank you for joining me and staying with me for the duration of this cooking video. As you can see, it's got quite a lot of liquids, but when I go over it with the spoon, you know, it'll really gather up a lot of it into the body of it. And this is basically this is done. Like I said, and I pictured it would probably be done. You know, it might be cooking a little bit too much, but it's perfectly okay to me. I don't mind if it's a little chunky, a little overcooked a little bit, just as long as it's not too liquidy. All right, we're gonna turn that heat off and move this off the heat. And basically, this is it. All right, so we've got. If I go through it a little bit, you can see it's not too. It's basically absorbed into the meat and the noodles, and it's not too liquid. It's very thick. It's very nice and full and done, and that's how I like it. And I'm glad that I was able to produce it like I wanted to. And I'm very hungry, so mix this up a bit more, but I'm all ready to eat. So thank you all very much for watching again, and you'll have a good evening, and good luck in your endeavors. So on and off later. To have a lot of just throw the box away. My favorite butter really livens up